Pursuant to House Resolution 97, the gentleman from Maine and a member opposed each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Maine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to offer an amendment on behalf of Ms. Gluesenkamp-Perez of Washington to ensure that the underlying bill does not risk the public health and safety of the American people in the future. Like many of my colleagues across the aisle, I support ending the COVID-19 vaccine requirement for international travelers at this time, but doing so with the interest of our constituents' safety in mind, first and foremost. Today, this COVID-19 vaccine requirement for international travelers is no longer necessary. In fact, it's become an unnecessary barrier for visitors who would boost local economies and who want to visit with friends and family and reunite with loved ones. However, we should remember that at the beginning of the pandemic, this requirement served as an important protection for our constituents. It would be short-sighted to move to hamstring similar future actions if necessary, which is why Ms. Gluesenkamp-Perez and I support this amendment, which strikes the prohibition on successor or subsequent requirements for air travelers so that future administrations, whether they be Democrat or Republican, have the tools that they need to protect the American people. We're not here to subject the health and safety of our constituents to political whims here in Washington. And with that, I will say I appreciate the opportunity to work with my colleague on this amendment, and I urge all of our colleagues to support it. With that, I yield back.
From Maine yields. For what purpose does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition?
I rise to claim time in opposition to the amendment.
The gentleman is recognized.
It's clear that the Biden administration has pushed its authorities past reasonable interpretation during the COVID-19 pandemic, with everything from eviction moratoriums, student loan to forgiveness, to vaccine and mask mandates being challenged and defeated in court. It is clear that the Biden administration needs the oversight of Congress. The prohibition on rulemaking makes sure the CDC cannot impose a future COVID-19 vaccine requirement on international travelers, and that the Biden administration would need to come to Congress for CDC to take such action in the future. H.R. 185 is a common sense bill. As President Biden himself has stated, the pandemic is over, and I quote. And as he announced last week, the White House would end the current COVID-19 public health emergency effective May 11, 2023. We are currently one of the only countries still requiring any such vaccine mandate. CDC itself has also acknowledged the vaccine does not prevent transmission. Why then are we still requiring a vaccine to enter our borders for legal travelers? Again, reminding everyone that for illegal travelers here, across the southern border, we're not requiring it. Again, I urge a no vote on this amendment, and I yield back my time.